Hi guys, this is Creative Cuts, a channel where I build, paint and create things. In today's video, I'm continuing my side quest of building up a 40k Ork Army, and the real reason why I started building this army in the first place. Building Ork trucks from scratch. And don't worry, I will be back to building dioramas very soon. In fact, I have a very special project in progress, so keep an eye out for that coming very soon. And if you don't want to miss that, then you can subscribe to stay up to date with all the latest videos. Hit the like button, it really helps the channel, and keep your suggestions coming in the comments section for future builds. So to begin, I must start with mentioning one of my favourite pastimes, charity shops. They're a great place to find old toys and can often be bought for next to nothing. I do this regularly and will buy bits that just look cool, even if I don't have a specific project in mind, and more often than not, just chuck them in a box of bits, waiting for the right project to come along. Over time I have collected, or as my fiance would say, hoarded several boxes worth of bits. So I started looking through one of my bits boxes and pulled out anything that caught my eye or would be useful for the Ork trucks. But before I fully launch into this, I needed to set myself some parameters. I looked up the size of an official Ork truck from Games Workshop and used this as a basis to help me get the scale right. Sure, this doesn't have to be an exact science, but it gives me a framework to work to. I had some really fun old toys that were roughly the right size, but because they had been sitting in one of my bits boxes for a couple of years, they were a bit dusty. So I gave them a good clean. And once I had a starting point, I spent quite a bit of time just holding different parts together and seeing how they might fit. What I love about scratch building is that there is no plan, no manual to follow. Sure, you may have an idea, and holding different parts together may help a bit, but in the end the only real way to get started is to pluck up the courage and commit. So I started cutting the cab off this digger with a razor saw. You can use anything that will cut through plastic really, sharp knife, some cutters. Well, my favourite tool for something like this would be my Dremel, but I'd run out of cutting discs at the time, so after a bit of effing and jeffing, the creative urge was strong, and I didn't have the patience to wait for them to arrive, so I just used whatever manual tools I had to hand. When working with different types of plastics, you can run into problems using superglue, as certain plastics will not easily bond together. Sure, you can sand two areas to help them stick together, but I wanted to work fast and freely, so in this case I opted for hot glue. Each approach will have its pros and cons. Superglue may be a bit neater, but with a bit of care I could get relatively clean joints with the hot glue. What quickly became apparent was a certain freedom when building Ork trucks specifically. Because of their somewhat ramshackle approach to using parts scoured from the vast corners of the wastelands of the galaxy, there were no clean lines to follow. If a part kind of fit into place, then that was good enough. Slap some glue on it and stick it together. And with each success, slowly a form started to take shape and created the next mini problem to solve. And this is when I'm at my most happy, literally watching something being created from nothing in real time. One idea inspires the next, and the only thing holding me back at this point was the battery life on my camera. I used some styrene sheets to fill out areas where I needed some flat material. My approach was to work from big to small, get the basic shapes down and then slowly begin to add some detail. Now I'm no mechanic, but it was important for me for things to kind of make sense. to have a sense of realism, even if it just follows a Orky logic. Had some styrene square tubes, which were great for rebuilding a cab of my truck. Again, none of this needed to fit perfectly, but close enough to make sense. It's really easy to cut with a sharp blade, so it was pretty much a case of hold a piece in place, cut it, and then glue it into place. I used bits of wooden dowel and some round styrene tubes to add further detail and also hide any gaps that needed filling. I also found a great way of achieving the kind of ramshackle look I was going for, was to layer up the surfaces as if they'd just been added one on top of the other. While I was building, I had spent several evenings gathering up various STL files and set my 3D printer to print out some additional parts. Again, no real plan here, just a selection of useful parts that I could try to fit together. I knew I needed a driver, so I tackled that first. Pretty straightforward. I also wanted a few models on the truck, so I spent a bit of time holding together different parts until I found a balanced composition. I added some exhaust pipes, a fuel tank, and a few other little details. But I also wanted a gun turret mounted on the back of the truck. So I stuck together a few more random parts, various bottle tops and a few bits of styrene. And before you know it, I had a fully rotatable turret that I was pretty happy with. I also glued together several pieces of thin wire to make further details and added these around the model in areas where they would make sense. I also found a couple of different sizes of chain and also added these. Just like the wires, I was looking for areas where the chain might make sense. While still keeping an overall composition in the back of my mind. Balanced and just little spots of details that are not overdone but act as little instances that reveal themselves as you look around the model. I also had 3D printed out a bunch of rivets and nuts which I could stick onto the various panels to show how they have been bolted together. Again, just small little details, but it's the overall sum of all of these that really help elevate your model into something special. things were at a point where I was pretty happy with the progress, but it was slowly getting difficult to see where I was really at, with all the different materials being different colours. So I gave the whole model a solid coat of primer. And I catch myself saying this in so many of my projects, whether it's scratch building something or even a ambitious diorama. Hitting the reset button by giving everything a single colour can really help you see where you're at, and more often than not, you'll surprise yourself with how good everything looks once it's a single colour. Suitably satisfied, I grabbed some paints and started filling in areas with a base coat. Metal parts got a coat of gunmetal, and I felt like it was fitting to paint the digger part of the model a yellowy orange in a nod back to the diggers of today. At this stage everything looks pretty rough, and what many model makers often refer to as the crappy stage. Fear not, do not get disheartened, persevere and have faith that in a few more steps things will begin to look better. It was at this stage that I regretted gluing the Ork models down onto the truck, as this made painting them much more difficult. But lessons learned, and maybe I will remember this for next time. Or not. And with some base coats added, I wanted to add some battle damage. My cutting discs for my Dremel had finally arrived, so I fired it up and went back round the model and just grazed the surface of the truck to add some nicks and scratches. I also switched to a small round attachment and added some bullet holes and dents. I then hit all these areas with some silver, as if the metal beneath the paint had been exposed. Again, we have entered another crappy stage in the painting process. But in the same way that I layered up the different surfaces when building the model, I would layer up the chips and scratches to give them a sense of age. I grabbed a small chunk of sponge and lightly dabbed on a little bit more silver to make little microchips. Again, keeping the concept of working large to small in my mind. I continued painting in a few more colours, some metallic copper on the exhausts. And with the base layers done, it was time to add a bit of tonal variation with my airbrush. It sounds complex, but in reality it's super simple. I load up some black into my airbrush and lightly spray some colour into the shadowed areas of the model, and basically filtering back some of the silver. And where it is not a completely opaque layer, there will be some natural variation in tone, where some areas get a little bit more colour than others. I repeated this step with some brown, hitting areas where dust and dirt may have collected over time. I went round and finished painting in my orks that were hitching a ride in much the same way I'd painted up the rest of my army. You can see earlier videos in this series to see me go into a bit more detail if you're interested. And then it was time to add a bit of magic sauce. Just a simple oil wash. A little black paint thin with some white spirit, and then just pretty much slapped all over the truck. Oil paints are often something that may seem a little scary to those of you who are newer to this hobby, but is my absolute favourite go-to method for washing models, as it runs into all the little gaps so much better than water-based washes. And in all honesty, I can't remember how long it's been since I actually bought a pot of Nuln oil from Games Workshop. And because it takes a little longer to dry than water-based washes, you can come back with some cotton buds and remove any excess colour if you've been a bit too heavy-handed, giving you complete control in how much paint actually sits in any one spot. Acrylic washes also tend to dry a bit glossy, and personally I prefer a more matte look to my models, and oil-based washes dry to that lovely matte finish. Once dry, I came in with a fine brush and carefully picked out some areas of bare metal that had been dulled back with the filter and wash steps, creating a layered look that I'd mentioned earlier. I also added a couple of little spots of pigment powder to create areas of rust, and finished by adding a muzzle flash to the gun on my turret. And that pretty much wraps this phase of the project up. I'll build a couple more trucks, but I'll keep that for a future video. So if you want to see that and other future projects, you can consider subscribing to the channel. Hit the like button if you've enjoyed this video, and let me know in the comments below what you think of this crazy ork truck. I love hearing your feedback. Now, this project started from a random visit to a charity shop, and with a bit of imagination and effort, I've turned an old toy into an ork truck that will proudly sit in the midst of my ork army, ready to shuttle my boys into battle. Thank you for joining me today, and I'll catch you in the next one. Enjoy.